Imagine waking up tomorrow to discover that every glacier, every iceberg, and every frozen sheet of ice on Earth had completely disappeared. Within years, coastlines would vanish, famous cities would sink beneath the sea, weather would become more extreme than ever before, and hundreds of millions of people would be forced to leave their homes. But just how different would our planet become? Could humanity survive in a world without ice? And what would happen to the animals, oceans, and climate that keep Earth in balance? Today, we're exploring one of the most fascinating scientific what-if scenarios ever imagined. What if all ice melted? Earth may look like a blue planet from space, but a surprising amount of its fresh water is actually locked away as ice. Nearly 70% of the world's freshwater is frozen inside Antarctica, Greenland, glaciers, and mountain ice caps. These frozen regions are much more than giant blocks of ice. They act like Earth's natural air conditioner, reflecting sunlight back into space and helping regulate global temperatures. Without them, our planet would begin changing in ways that would affect every continent. Let's begin with Antarctica, the largest ice sheet on Earth. If all of Antarctica's ice melted, it alone could raise global sea levels by nearly 58 meters. Greenland would contribute another 7 meters, while glaciers around the world would add several more. Altogether, sea levels could rise by around 70 meters, enough to completely redraw the map of the world. Countries wouldn't disappear entirely, but many of their most populated coastal regions would be underwater. Some of the world's greatest cities would be among the first to face disaster. Large parts of New York, Miami, London, Shanghai, Mumbai, Bangkok, Jakarta, Amsterdam, and many other coastal cities would become flooded. Airports, highways, ports, power stations, and business districts would slowly disappear beneath the rising ocean. Millions of homes would be abandoned, and entire communities would be forced to relocate inland. The cost of rebuilding infrastructure would be unlike anything humanity has ever experienced. The effects wouldn't stop at the coastline. Rising oceans would push saltwater deep into rivers and underground freshwater supplies. Farms that once produced food would become too salty to grow crops. Drinking water would become more difficult to obtain in many regions, creating new challenges for agriculture and daily life. Food prices could rise dramatically as countries struggle to replace lost farmland and adapt to changing conditions. At first, it might seem like melting ice would simply create more water, but the climate system is far more complex. Ice reflects much of the sun's energy back into space. Scientists call this the albedo effect. When bright white ice disappears, darker ocean water absorbs much more heat. This causes Earth to warm even faster, creating a powerful feedback loop that accelerates climate change. The warmer the planet becomes, the more ice melts, leading to even more warming. Another major concern involves the oceans themselves. Freshwater from melting ice could disrupt major ocean currents that transport heat around the globe. One of the most important of these is the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, a system that helps regulate weather across Europe, North America, and beyond. If this circulation weakens significantly, some regions could experience colder winters, while others might become hotter, drier, or wetter. Weather patterns that humans have relied upon for thousands of years could become increasingly unpredictable. Extreme weather would likely become more common. Stronger hurricanes, heavier rainfall, larger floods, more intense droughts, and longer heat waves could affect millions of people every year. Coastal storms would become especially destructive because higher sea levels allow storm surges to travel much farther inland. Communities that currently survive hurricanes. The disappearance of ice would also have devastating consequences for wildlife. Polar bears depend on sea ice to hunt seals, and without it, many populations would struggle to survive. Penguins in Antarctica rely on stable ice for breeding and raising chicks. Walruses, seals, Arctic foxes, and countless other species have evolved to live in frozen environments. As their habitats disappear, many would be forced to migrate, adapt, or face extinction. Entire ecosystems that have existed for millions of years could change forever. Life beneath the ocean would also be affected. Melting ice changes ocean temperature, salinity, and nutrient circulation. Coral reefs, already under stress from warming seas, could experience even greater bleaching. Fish populations might migrate toward cooler waters, disrupting fishing industries around the world and affecting the food supply for millions of people. What about humanity? Could we adapt? History suggests that humans are incredibly resilient. Coastal defenses would become more advanced, and many cities might build massive seawalls or floating neighborhoods. Engineers could design floating homes, elevated transportation systems, and even entire floating cities powered by renewable energy. Nations would likely invest heavily in climate-resistant infrastructure, desalination plants, and new farming technologies capable of producing food under changing environmental conditions. Over centuries, the world map itself would look completely different. New coastlines would emerge, while familiar beaches and cities would exist only in history books. Some islands would disappear beneath the sea, while inland regions might become the new centers of civilization. Future generations would grow up in a world where today's geography would seem almost unimaginable. Fortunately, there is one important fact to remember. Even under the most extreme climate scenarios, all of Earth's ice will not melt overnight. Scientists estimate that completely melting the Antarctic and Greenland ice sheets would require many centuries, or even thousands of years, of sustained warming. However, the changes already being observed today remind us that climate change is a real challenge, and every fraction of a degree matters. Around the world, researchers are monitoring glaciers with satellites, studying ice cores that preserve ancient climate records, and developing technologies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Renewable energy, cleaner transportation, forest restoration, and international cooperation all play important roles in slowing future warming. While the complete melting of Earth's ice remains a distant scenario, the choices humanity makes today will influence the future of our planet for generations to come. So, what if all the ice melted? The Earth would not become uninhabitable, but it would become a very different world, one with new coastlines, new climates, and enormous challenges for both nature and civilization. Understanding these possibilities helps us appreciate how important our frozen regions truly are. They are not just remote landscapes of snow and ice, they are one of the key systems that keep our planet stable. If you enjoyed this journey into one of science's most fascinating possibilities, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to High Tech Info, and turn on notifications. Which what-if scenario should we explore next? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.